Hello everyone, Mike with Spray Jones, and I need to go over 5 things that you should be looking for quickly with your spray foam to see if you have on a 2 pound per cubic foot closed cell spray foam application whether you have a quality installation or not. Because I've had a number of people say to me, we're having issues, the foam isn't sticking, it doesn't look right, doesn't smell right, there's a whole bunch of different things. How do we know? So let's get into a couple of obvious things that you can look for. One, adhesion, and that means does the foam stick to the substrate? The foam in Canada that we install has a minimum adhesion standard when you're dealing with residential and commercial buildings. So the way that we test for it under the code is that a cutter is placed into the foam. It's a predetermined size. We cut like a gigantic cookie cutter through the spray foam all the way to the substrate. We now have an isolated plug. That plug we then attach a disc where we can then have a hook, and that hook we put a fish gauge on, and we pull the fish scale gauge on, and that will determine whether or not it takes X amount of pounds per square foot of force to remove the plug. If the plug stays in place or doesn't release before the predetermined amount, then it's a pass. So these are important things because that is something that you want, is the foam sticking. If the foam is not sticking, well then you might as well be buying a rigid board stock. So if you don't have a standard in your state or county for adhesion, this is something that you can follow up and check on. You can start to do adhesion tests on the foam with the proper equipment. The second is cohesion. Is the foam sticking to itself? So if you're putting on a 2 and a 3 and a 4-inch pass, you're going to be doing that multiple times. So the foam needs to stick to itself. Again, cutting into it with a plug cutter to isolate a piece so that you can see how the first pass is sticking to the second pass, and so on and so forth. There's no minimum standard of how well it needs to stick. There's no way of pulling it apart and checking for how many pounds per square inch of force it takes to do this on cohesion. However, if it is disbonding a little bit, it's a fail. So it should be sticking to itself tenaciously. There should be no way of separating it or seeing that it is disbonding. The third is probably the biggest subject of them all, and that's density of your product. So a 2 pound foam is going to weigh somewhere between 1.8 to 2.1 pounds per cubic foot. That's what the manufacturer has designed it to be in density, and we'll call that a 2 pound foam. So if you take, for instance, the BASF wall-type product that we install, the purple foam, it's designed to have a density in the 1.85 to 2 pounds and up. So the way that we test that is that we cut into the foam that's been installed, we remove a plug of it. That plug is then shaved down to fit into a beaker. We take the plug's weight first. It needs to be a minimum of 200 grams of weight for the plug, so you can't cut a tiny little size, you have to cut a larger size. We weigh it on a scale, then we put it into a beaker with water, and we see how much water is displaced out when it takes to submerge the plug just under the surface of the water. So we might start out with 200 mils, and then with the plug placed underneath the water, it's displacing 240 mils. So the displacement is 40 mils of difference, multiplied out by the weight that we started with, the grams, the weight of the product. There's a mathematical formula that we use, and that will tell us exactly what the density of that product is. If the product is designed to be 1.85 and we come in at 2 or 2.1, then that's fine. So the thing to understand about foam density is that the density it's designed to be or higher is good. So 2 pounds, 2.1, 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way up. That's good. But if your product is designed to be 1.85 pounds per cubic foot and you test it out and it comes in at 1.56, you've got a problem. Because now you don't have enough cell structure to have a cohesive mass that's what we call dimensionally stable. So it stays in that state of dimension. It's going to shrink, it's going to pull back, it's going to collapse. It's kind of like having a hollow structure. There's nothing holding it up, and the structure wants to collapse in upon itself. So being higher than the design density is okay. That's going to cost the spray foam company more money. If he's supposed to be putting in a 1.85 or a 2.5 product and it's higher and higher and higher, that's just going to take more liquid product. It's money coming out of his pocket. But you as the consumer want to make sure that if you're supposed to have a 1.85 or a 1.95 product, that you don't have a 1.7 or a 1.6. You understand? And there's ways that the density can be off. Generally, the installers cannot modify it. It cannot be done. I can't turn dials in my truck and get the density to be lower. But I can have problems with the chemistry, problems with the mix. I can have a cross-contamination inside there. There's going to be some sort of major thing wrong with the mixing of the product that is thereby throwing the cell structure off, and thereby the density is off. So if the density is off, the physical properties, everything that foam is designed to do, adhesion, coadhesion, water absorption, insulating factor, flammability, long-term sustainability of the product, meaning how well is it going to work with the structure, all of it is totally skewed and off and will need to be removed. Density is one of the most important things out there. So after that, the fourth thing that I would check for is depth and consistency. So if you're getting a 2 or a 3 inch application, you can expect your foam to be anywhere from a 1/4 inch low to a 1/4 inch high. So on a 2 inch application, you should be 1 3/4 or 2 1/4 thick. And then the fifth and final thing that I would say that you need to be looking for is whether it smells. Like if the foam has a rank odor to it a day after or many hours after they've installed it, you might want to start thinking about doing further investigation. Any foam that's going into a residence or a commercial building should have little to no odor the day of that they've installed it. So if it's still lingering, still smelling 1 and 2 and 3 days later, that's an immediate full stop. Do a full investigation. In Canada, we have a 24-hour reoccupancy window. The foams are all designed to have 0 volatile organic compounds leaching out of them within 24 hours. That's a pass-fail, pure simple. There is no gradient, better, best window. It's just you either achieved it or you didn't. So if you're not achieving it, you need to look to it. Now, I know a lot of the American friends, you don't have mandatory adhesion, coadhesion, you don't have mandatory density, and you don't have mandatory off-gas testing in a lot of your products. But more and more of the suppliers are going this way. They're getting more and more stringent on their quality control measures. So these are something that you can know to look for and to ask for, and there are testing kits out there. You can get spray foam density tests. You can get adhesion and coadhesion testing kits. They're sold through any of the major spray foam supply chains. You just search it out on Google and you will find these products are out there, and you can buy one of these kits, do these tests yourself, or get somebody that already owns one. And these are the things that you need to be looking for on your job to make sure that it's the quality product that you're expecting to have. So if you have further questions and concerns about this, you can send me some messages through on the comment section. I'll try to reply to them as best as I can. Keep liking and subscribing these videos. Share them with other people. We'll try to get more information out there as time goes on. Thank you.